Hello, Debanga,
Hi.
and welcome to Maxima Insights.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to have you here. So please tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are.
Hi, my name is Debanga. I am a quality engineering lead here at Maxima Consulting. So I've been working in IT for the past 12 odd years, maybe 13 years, and specifically into the QA domain. Worked with multiple companies and multiple domains, huge telecom domains, healthcare, and as well as right now working in third-party logistics. That's also a huge domain in Maxima. Working with Maxima for the past 4 years, specialized into automation testing, and I'm more curious right now into AI and its application into the IT.
Awesome. So, Debanga, AI, low code. Like a few years ago, low code and no code tools were the biggest hype. Then came AI. It changed every single thing. So, the low code frameworks and tools are now more mature, and they allow engineering teams to configure and ship features in days instead of months. And in many cases, they are a better solution than just slapping AI onto a problem.
Right.
So, with all those changes, how is the role of quality assurance actually changing?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Initially, legacy-wise, quality assurance was a gatekeeper in the whole IT team. So they're responsible for quality checks and ensuring the critical functionalities as well as nitty-gritties of a software when we ship it to production. But with I'll say with low-code frameworks and this whole low-code or no-code that we have, the style of software development and software delivery, the quality assurance role has changed from actually a gatekeeper to ensure of a critical business functionality. So with all these advancements, I think what happened is QAs are responsible to focus more on critical business functionality rather than checking the nitty-gritties of the system, like let's say how the buttons, maybe the placement of buttons or the small functionalities. So that can be handled with the AI or with mostly with the automation. But from the QA perspective, I think the more focus goes on to if the critical business flow that's supposed to work, is it working as per the user expectance, is it delivering what we should. And secondly, I feel that QAs are more responsible to ensure the feature is working in the production as well. Let's say we test it in the lower environments. I think the QA role has moved or transformed into checking the production performance and what data comes into production and whatever happens in production. So I think that's the way it has been transformed.
Yeah. So your role has become much more strategic than before. Because I remember, like, I started working in IT like 8 years ago, and then everyone in QA was like, "Yeah, I'm checking the buttons because the padding is wrong and that stuff."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The role, exactly what you said. I agree to your point, Felician. So the more focus has been shifted towards, okay, are we delivering this flow of the system, whole end-to-end flow as per the business requirements, rather than checking, okay, if this button is there or not, or the layout is there or not, or maybe the button has moved. That can be handled with modern tools and modern architectures, frameworks, let's say.
Awesome. And when a company's engineering team is pushing code faster than before, because they started using Cloud Code and now it's just going out like from a machine gun. So how do you advise them to restructure the QA processes?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's a good question again. So we don't want to be, let's say this is a high locomotive train and we are moving at a certain velocity and shipping the code faster to production. So QAs don't want to be that emergency brake in this whole locomotive or in this whole train, let's say. So what we need to do is first, from not exactly a QA level, but from an architecture level, I feel that these features should be gated behind some feature flags. So for example, I give a simple example. if certain feature is applicable for a particular customer, then and it's not applicable for all the customer, then we should put such product features in behind some gated feature flags so that we enable that for a particular customer and we don't enable for the other ones, and that will decrease the impact of any unknown issues found in production, and we can handle that more maturely and we can fix it also. That's one thing. And secondly, there can be automated rollbacks that can perform that. Okay, if we push some feature and there are certain error spikes that happen maybe greater than 5%, 10%, then the pipeline can roll back the changes to ensure that we have a stable version in production. That's one thing from the architecture level. But from the QA perspective, I think there are certain guidelines that we need to follow. Number one is all we know about definition of done. What it means is we from the QA team, and since we are shifting left, we should sit with the product owner, developer, and independently think about what we are building the feature and how do we want to test it. Once we develop those test cases or scenarios, we should review them with the product owner, with the developer, and align ourselves and align our thinking with the business that okay, are we testing the right thing, and so that and this will guide the developers also to build a correct product with the proper features. That's one thing. And secondly, I think what was the question? I forgot. There was 2 points again.
How do you advise to restructure the QA processes
Okay.
Testing doesn't become the bottleneck?
Okay, and so the testing does not becomes the bottleneck. And last 2 points I would like to add is obviously the automated regression run. There has to have that is a must have right now, that there has to have automated at least smoke runs for the critical features, and it depends on the maturity of the team and the maturity of the agile team, or let's say the development team or the delivery team, that if we want to run, can we run some automated smoke tests on production? If yes, then that's best. We should at least validate some part of the features in production, because as we see that it's not always possible to test 100% in the lower level environments. It may be due to integration issues, due to third-party applications, a lot of other different interfaces with other different applications might not be present. So it is good to have some part of the production validation test, and that comes back to my previous answer also, that we QS can and QS should be ensuring some part of the product features in production as well. So more confidence on the product that we are delivering.
Yeah. So with what you said, with working closer with product owners, with the business, do you think that every role across the software development team should work closer with the business? Because I think that's where we are coming.
That's where we are going, and that adds another point, that QAs should not be separate from the development team. QAs should be integrated with the development team. How that helps is that will help the developer who writes the unit tests for the code. That can help the developer firstly, and then the QAs can write the regression test, and developers can use those regression tests once they merge their code to the main line. So automatically, once this is integrated, any new feature that has been built by the development team members, once it is merged, our regression tests can run and then ensure the overall build looks good, and then the overall build is deployed to higher environment. Again, the test runs, again it goes to the production. So this is how a high performance team should work.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that we should not write it down, but maybe paint it how it should look like. Even.
Yeah.
Like when I will find some diagrams, I will add it to the video. And AI tools, as we said, they are writing, analyzing code at speeds that we didn't see a few years ago. And how should forward-thinking companies be integrating AI into their testing strategies?
That's one of the burning topic right now in the market, how to integrate AI with the work that most of the roles that we do. So from the QA side, I can tell that we should not take AI as our replacement first. And AI is like, I was seeing this course and I saw that they say that we had automation, now came AI. So AI is like automation on steroids.
Yeah.
So it is basically powerful.
But
So
steroids can go too far.
so what's the analogy is, use the AI tools to make your work more efficient. So what we have right now in 2026, we have a lot of AI tools coming. Point wise, we have agentic AI automation. What it means is, you have AI agents that can do your work. I'll give some simple examples. So let's say we have a Jira story where we can, where what we generally do is read the Jira story and get the requirements and understand how we need to plan the scenarios and everything. So the AI agents, what the cutting edge work that is being done in the industry is, the AI agents can analyze your story and give you a blueprint what exactly this feature is and how we need to test this, and what all the edge case scenarios or maybe the critical scenarios can be written from this requirement. So there are AI tools which helps in agentic AI automation. Your AI agents can do all this analysis, even can run some scripts which you can verify, and then run those scripts and get you a primary run report that what all tests pass, what are the failures, and where we need to work. Then we have some tools which, like Apply tools, I know that does the visual regression. What it means, let's say you have a login button and that color of that button needs to be blue or some shade of blue, but maybe due to some CSS changes, that color is something else, but it may not be visible or it may not be detectable on human eye. So there are tools like Apply tools or other tools in the market that does your job and does a mapping of exactly how it needs to look like versus how it needs to do. Even there are maybe millimeter of changes in the button, it will detect that and it will let you know.
That's nice.
So these kind of tools are there in the market and we should embrace them, and we should use these tools and use it in our automation or use it in our QA work that we do and deliver for the businesses. So I can say some of the examples again, like we have the UI have a front end and they have document object model, the DOM. So there are tools that analyzes the DOM and then guides you what all tests can break here and what all things have changed. So it gives you a blueprint on what tests to follow, what tests can be done, which are critical, which are not, and then it can run. And that decreases your time to complete one test, one feature, like significantly decreases and increase your efficiency, so that you can think of more critical. You can do all the most heavy lifting or the most boring part of the job is done by the AI. So you can think of more critical things and happy paths, and some things that you need to focus on, the human mind can do, and you can do that part, and we can take the help of AI.
I can relate to that with marketing a bit, because like recently Anthropic released the Canva integration. So
Right.
for example, when you want to create a carousel for social media, it's a pain because you literally just copy paste, and then you resize everything, and it's boring work. Like, you don't want to do that, but now you can prompt the agent to do it for you, and it will resize, it will pick the correct font, make sure that it's good, and of course there is the human in the end in the loop who checks if it looks correct or not.
Right.
But that part of the job is done already. So
perfect.
It's basically the same everywhere.
Yeah.
So the tech landscape, it's now dominated by AI and heavy automation, like everywhere. Many people are afraid what will happen, but nobody knows actually. So What human QA skills do you tell clients are actually becoming more critical with the mundane work being automated?
Let's do all the mundane work with the AI and we do all the critical thinking. So that's how it goes. The AI should take care of the most of the repetitive tasks, and human mind should be able to take care what the AI can't do. Obviously, um, the AI does whatever data that you feeds you. I mean, that you feed to the AI model. So obviously, the AI will only work on the data that you give. It might be that the data is wrong, so it will do some wrong tests. But but the human mind can anticipate how the criticality of the feature. So let's say the AI can say that okay, that button is wrong color, or maybe the button is somewhere wrong, but the human mind can judge if there is a button required at this place, or maybe we can enable maybe we can add some other button which may be more appealing to the customer, so that the AI cannot tell, obviously. So the ease of use of a software from user experience, then your business criticality, these are always judged by the human, and it cannot be replaced by the AI anywhere near the future, I can say. So with all this, so coming back to the question, with all these points that we do, I think the business critical thinking, the ease of use, all this thing that needs a human intervention must have been done by the human,
Yeah. So
not
kind
the
of
AI.
judgment and taste, like those two things. Like,
Yes,
is it really something that you would like to use, or is
exactly,
it something that's created for bots that will interact with it? So,
exactly.
because that's two different designs, yeah, two different ways of design and two different ways of interaction. So, yeah. And now coming to the last questions, logistics, e-commerce, everything is moving more towards decoupled architecture because it makes sense. Like
Right.
you want to have everything decoupled now, not to be stuck in
Right.
in monoliths. So, do you have any advice for building a testing framework that will actually survive across all those changes that are happening and decoupled architecture?
Yes. So as you said, the architecture is decoupled. So first thing is that you cannot build a framework that can sustain, let's say, a decade. Keeping the only if you think like that we need to pass the test, you cannot build a framework like that. You have to think it from the product perspective and build a test framework that works that way. How it works is, since we have decoupled architecture, so first thing is less UI, more API. That's the first point. How it works? All these decoupled architecture, or all these or decoupled programs have to have exposed APIs so that they can talk to each other. So we can do contract testing, which means that are these two interfaces be able to connect to each other, and we do a lot of more API tests because they are less fragile. The UI may tend to change year on year, or maybe in
Month
a
by
decade.
month sometimes.
Exactly. In a decade, it may change thrice. So, so we do a less UI testing and do more API and contract testing, so that we can ensure that the interfaces works with each other, and the APIs are able to communicate and pass the data what it expects, or how it expects to work. That's one thing. Secondly is, I think we had Cucumber. I'll give an example of a tool. We had Cucumber, which writes Gherkin language, and that's how the agile framework works. That we have a function, when the user does some action, then this should work. So this is a given when then format.
So basically, if this then that.
Right.
Okay.
So when once we jot down the scenarios on a given when then format, then the underlying code will handle how it interacts with the software. So your given when then, which is the test scenarios, which are the features of the product, won't change, but your underlying architecture or the underlying tech stack may change in a decade. So what my point is, once you write those scenarios, the scenarios won't change. Only the underlying tech stack will change, and you might need to handle how the new tech stack might work. So you don't need to touch the entire scenarios because your product feature is almost the same. Maybe there are little bit changes. So these are one of second point what I think that how we can handle changed and how a test framework can sustain a decade. And then lastly, I would like to mention that the first point again that we need to think about how the product behaves rather than thinking how the test should work and then how the test should pass or how the thing is, because the product will behave maybe the same way or maybe there will be slight changes in a decade, but it should always behave how the business wants it to be. So thinking from that perspective, I think we can make a framework which can sustain, and all these points that I discussed, we can go towards what we can align towards what we just discussed.
Awesome. So it's a process. It's
Yeah.
a process, and you have to adapt.
Exactly.
Because the environment changes quite fast. Like we know that the last
Exactly.
years just showed us that you can't prepare for what's coming next, and at the same time you have to adapt your approach, because if something new and better comes up, you want to integrate that. Like you don't want
Right.
to wait 6 months to wait if it makes sense, because your competition will already be ahead.
Exactly.
So okay, Debanga, thank you very much for today. It was a pleasure as always,
Thank you.
and till next time.